It's time for Dodger Baseball. Live from Dodger Stadium, Sportsnet LA presents the Dodgers as they take on the Chicago Cubs. Hi, everybody, and a very pleasant Saturday to you. It'll be Game 6 of the 7 between the Dodgers and Cubs. Dodgers have won 3 of the previous 5. As far as the pitching is concerned, left-hander Jon Lester will be on the mound for Chicago. He had a no-hitter against the Royals back in 2008. He's been in 2 World Series, 2007 and 2013, a 3-time All-Star who, by the way, in 21 World Series innings, the big left-hander has allowed 1 earned run, and his record 3 wins and no losses. For the Dodgers, going up against Jon Lester, who has a better record than the 8-9 would indicate, the fact the Cubs are not scoring runs for him. They're averaging only 2.4 runs per start. When he gets out of the game, they score 33% more runs, so he's been running tough luck. For the Dodgers, Matt Latos coming out of the bullpen. He is 0-2 as a Dodger. However, for Latos, a good lifetime record against Chicago, 7 wins and 3 losses. So those are some of the notes going into the ball game. You sit back, relax. We got a good ball game coming up and a whole lot more right after this. To you. Welcome to Dodger Stadium. Another beautiful summer's evening, albeit slightly on the hot side. Matt Latos jumping over the foul line as so many pitchers do, making his way to the mound as the Dodgers try to come up with another victory. They've beaten Chicago 3 of the 5, but the Cubs did not go easily at all. The Cubs, however, floundering a little bit. They lost 2 in a row to the Giants, and now Joe Maddon's ball club lost last night, so they played 18-7 in the month of August. You'd have to go back over 80 years to find a Cubs team that enjoyed such a month. Let's take a look at Joe's lineup card. The good-natured manager, one of the delightful guys we have met in the business. He'll have Dexter Fowler leading off in center field, Kyle Schwarber in left field, Chris Coghlan in right, Anthony Rizzo at first. Chris Bryant at third. Miguel Montero had a tough night last night. He's behind the plate. Addison Russell, the shortstop. The pitcher bats 8th in Joe Maddon's lineup. John Lester. And batting 9th, second baseman Tommy La Stella, replacing Starlin Castro. For the Dodgers, Matt Latos on the mound. The last time he pitched was back on the 13th of August against Cincinnati. He allowed 5 runs and went out after 4 2/3 innings. The Dodgers lost that game 10-3. However, he's got a pretty good record against the Chicago Cubs. When he was with the Marlins, he went 7 innings. That would be on July 5th, recording a loss when the Marlins won that game 2-0. He struck out 7 and pitched very well. In 12 career games against the Cubs, he is 7-3. The opposition has hit only .220 against him, so we'll see how Matt Latos goes tonight. For the Dodgers, they take the field knowing that the Giants lost this afternoon. The Cardinals beat the Giants 6-0. Lance Lynn got the win over Ryan Vogelsong. The Cardinals piled up 13 hits to get their 6th run, and there were no home runs. So for the moment, at least, the Dodger lead is 3. If they win, it'll go to 3.5. If they lose, it will revert back to 2.5. Dexter Fowler playing very well. Had a couple of foul balls beat him up, but he's back in the starting lineup last night. He had 1 hit against Kershaw. And the left-hand batter, who is a switch hitter, takes the pitch low, ball 1, 1-0. Dexter, of course, had room to roam in Colorado. He was so exciting to see defensively. He's hemmed in a bit in Wrigley Field, Chicago. The 1-0 pitch on the way. Latos over the top, and the ball is driven to the gap in right center, fighting the sun, making a tumbling try, but to no avail. It'll be a long double for Dexter Fowler. The problem for Scott Van Slyke, he was racing from sunlight to shadow to sunlight again. He had his glove up in the air, but it couldn't help. He made a desperate dive at the ball and could not come up with it. So Dexter Fowler will take another look. If you're watching on TV, fastball out over the middle of the plate. There's Van Slyke, no sunglasses, and as he tries to make the catch, he can't do it. The sun is brutal at this hour, and the only surprise is that Scott was not wearing sunglasses. They're not under the bill of the cap either, so that made it even tougher. So a leadoff double, and now here's Kyle Schwarber, the big, looks like a middle linebacker from the Middle West, really put together, and they expect he will eventually be quite a power hitter. He has 12 right now. Made his debut in the middle of June 2015, and he drove in a couple of runs. First time up, he tripled to drive in the run. Takes a curveball for a strike, and the count 1 ball and 1 strike. When he was going to school, Schwarber was a great catcher, but he is put in the outfield and left field. Out of the University of Indiana. The 1-1 pitch on the way. Carl checks. They look at third, nose swing, and the count 2 balls and 1 strike. Schwarber in the month of August has 9 RBIs. Chris Davis of Milwaukee has 10. Carlos Gonzalez had 9. 2 balls and 1 strike to count to Carl Schwarber. Next pitch is pulled foul outside of first down the line. Schwarber is 6 feet tall, but on that 6-foot frame, he stacks in at 235. out of Middleton, Ohio. And although everybody wanted him as a middle linebacker, he opted to play baseball at Indiana. Middletown, Ohio, by the way, is about equidistant between Dayton and Cincinnati. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Schwarber, left-hand batter. Latos looks back at Fowler, and the next one is swung on and missed, and down goes Schwarber. By the way, he signed Schwarber a first-round pick for just below $3.1 million. So 1 away, and now here's Chris Coghlan. I'm sure that Joe Maddon and the Cubs are not superstitious, but when Chris Coghlan bats third in the Cub lineup, they are 18-2. Well, he's batting third tonight. So Fowler still at second with 1 out. Maddon waiting to see if his man can be picked up. Last night we gave you kind of an important stat, and it held up. The pitch is in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Last night we were talking about whoever scores first wins the game. Cubs have won 53, Dodgers have won 50. Last night the Dodgers scored first. Cubs tied it in the 4th, but the Dodgers came back to win it. Good breaking ball in for a strike. 0-2 the count to Chris Coghlan. Yeah, a little bit of applause from Mattingly on that breaking ball. That was a dandy. So the Dodgers, as we mentioned, with 50 scoring first wins, and the Cubs have 53. And here's the strike 2 pitch to Chris Coghlan. Latos looks back at second, over the top, and the pitch in the dirt, bouncing a little far up along the third baseline. So if it's going to bounce away, that's ideal with a runner at second base. Then you have the play directly in front of you as you go up the line to pick it up. So Matt Latos, a big man. He is 6'6", 235 pounds. 28 years old, Alexandria, Virginia. He was originally drafted by the Padres in the 11th round from Broward Community College. 1-2 the count to Coghlan. Latos at the belt. Here he comes, and the pitch is low and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Good 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Latos has been struggling. He wasn't accustomed to going to the bullpen, but the Dodgers felt he could work on his pitches there. So Mattingly, Honeycutt watching Latos. 2-2 pitch is off speed, pull foul. So a change following a good fastball, and the count 2 balls and 2 strikes. Tomorrow the concluding game, and that will be the ESPN game at 5:05. Jake Arrieta and Alex Wood, and then the series behind, and the Dodgers have to make sure they're not looking too far ahead. The Giants will be here. They'll have Peavy, Bumgarner, and Leake. The Dodgers will counter Anderson against Peavy, Greinke against Bumgarner, Kershaw against Leake. 2-2 the count. Latos at the belt. Big Matt looks out at Fowler, back to the plate, swung on and missed. So Latos breaking off a couple of dandies to strike out Schwarber and now Coghlan.
First baseman number 44, Anthony Rizzo.
Of course, for the Cubs, they're struggling with the strikeout. The Dodgers with the leather: Gonzalez, Peraza, Rollins, Turner, Crawford, Hernandez, Van Slyke, Ellis behind the plate handling Latos. Remember last night, Clayton Kershaw struck out 14. So now with a runner at second and nobody out, Latos proceeds to strike out 2. And here is the multi-talented Anthony Rizzo. Big left-hand batter. Stands up there as if the plate belongs to him, and he takes high, ball 1. Rizzo last night pounded out a home run, his 26th of the year, over the center field fence. And later on during the game, they told us they estimated the home run at 441. Of course, he's capable of doing that. 26 home runs, 78 runs batted in, and Kershaw remembers as he looks on. The 1-0 pitch on the way, in for a strike. 1-1. For those watching who didn't see it last night, take a ride on this one. It was a fastball, a 3-2 count, and it went out 441 feet. The Rizzo up there now with 2 out, a runner at second base. Dodgers don't overload, but they are overshifted. The 1-1 pitch to Rizzo is taken for a strike. 1-2. You have Gonzalez deep on the rim. You have Peraza at least 10 feet out in the grass in right field. Rollins way over to his left, not quite, but almost up the middle. And basically all alone on the left side, Justin Turner. The outfield, a bit of a split, the gap in right center. So here's the 1-2 pitch coming up to Anthony Rizzo. Latos delivers, swung on and missed, so he gives up a leadoff double and strikes out the side. So that's 17 Cubs have struck out now in 10 innings. And at the end of half an inning, Cubs nothing, Dodgers coming up. Out the side, took him 17 pitches to put the Cubs away. Now for Don Mattingly, we'll take a look at his lineup card, and it reads as follows: Jimmy Rollins at short, Kike Hernandez in center, Adrian Gonzalez at first, and Justin Turner at third. Scott Van Slyke in right. Then you have Carl Crawford in left, A.J. Ellis behind the plate, Jose Peraza at second base, and Matt Latos making quite an impression, batting ninth. John Lester's on the mound, and we have a kind of an interesting story about John. Not just John, but the Chicago Cubs. You talk about an imagination. Remember when he was turning free agent, just about everybody wanted him, and the Cubs did something that I've never heard of another team doing, and it's paid off because here he is. We'll tell you in a minute, working on Jimmy Rollins, who shows bunt and takes a strike. One day this winter in the mail, a DVD arrived. It came overnight from Chicago to his suburban home just outside of Atlanta. A DVD. Here's the strike one pitch on the way. Rollins hits a high fly ball into deep left center field. That's going to go a long way. And right at the wall is Dexter Fowler to make the catch. So Dexter, who can roam with the best of them, goes up against the pads and one away here in the first inning. Take another look at that catch. We got plenty of time to get back to the story. Fowler, who is a dandy, had to go up in the air to handle it. So a nice play by Daddy Longlegs, and we have one away. And Kike Hernandez coming up. Okay, where were we? A DVD arrived in the mail at his home outside of Atlanta, and it came from Chicago. The first pitch to Kike, a little low, ball 1-0. When he opened it up, he put the DVD in the works, turned everything on, sat back, and he saw the World Series logo on the massive hand-operated scoreboard at Central Wrigley Field. Next pitch is swung on and fouled away. Not only did he see the logo, there was then a shot of the ballpark's famous Art Deco marquee as the electronic portion of the iconic sign flashed. Cubs versus Yankees. Game 7. Lester versus Pineda. Now that was the opening of the DVD. The 1-1 pitch swung on and missed 1-2. What the Cubs then did, with dramatic music playing, imagery taken from a 2012 Sony PlayStation ad, he saw what would happen if the Cubs won the World Series and he was the pitcher. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way, fouled off. The dog pile in the middle of the field, the live news reports, the jubilation on Waveland Avenue, and it was such a taste of success that John Lester could not let it get away. 10 years ago, he was a 20-year-old left-hander in the Red Sox minor system. The 1-2 pitch swung on and missed, and down goes Hernandez. He signed, thanks to the DVD, to a contract, $155 million, a 6-year deal. And it all started with a DVD sent by the Cubs to his home. Pretty good imagination for Joe Maddon's bosses. Hasn't paid off. As we mentioned in our opening remarks, Lester is 8-9, but when you get into it, the Cubs have averaged 2.4 runs for him. That's all. The left-hander's pitch now to Gonzalez is away. 1 ball and no strikes. And you think, well, 2.4 to 3, what a big difference. And it's a huge difference. 1-0 pitch on the way. Adrian fouls it off. Here's the way it goes. If his club scores 3 or more runs, his career winning percentage is over 800. 113 victories, 28 losses. So we'll see about big John Lester tonight. The 1-1 pitch on the way is a ground ball to third. Up with it there, Chris Bryant. Plenty of time, and that will do it. A 1-2-3 inning for John Lester. So we're off and running here at Dodger Stadium. At the end of an inning, no score. The Dodgers and the Cubs.
Mexico is the sign you've been waiting for to take a vacation. Mexico, living to believe it.
Gave up a double to Fowler, proceeded to come up with some nasty breaking balls to strike out Schwarber, Coghlan, and Rizzo. Quite a start for Matt Latos. So Matt now will be facing Chris Bryant, Miguel Montero, and Addison Russell. Bryant's a fella who made a lot of headlines, including labor headlines, in spring training. Big kid out of Las Vegas, 6'5", 215. March the 30th, he was hitting .425, had 9 home runs, 15 RBIs, and only 40 at-bats in spring training, and the Cubs sent him down. The first pitch to Chris finds the outside corner. Good fastball, 0-1. Major League Baseball's Player Association made a statement. They went after the Cubs, and finally Chris came back he is enjoying a very good August. The strike one pitch is swung on, flared into left center. That's going to drop for a base hit. PK is up with it. So Bryant, little fly ball dunker to center for the base hit, and Miguel Montero will be coming up. For Bryant, he has recovered. In July, he hit 168. In August, not counting that base hit, he was batting .326. Big difference. So another leadoff hit. We'll see if that's some kind of a trend. And of course, it is a violation of the commandments of big league pitching. That's number one, get the leadoff hitter. And the second is make that first pitch a strike. So here's Miguel Montero, left-hand hitting catcher. David Ross not catching as far as Lester is concerned. When David Ross is catching Lester, his numbers are better, but Montero brings that left-handed bat in. Miggy, as they called him last night, 0 for 3, struck out twice. Now the strike one pitch, off speed, change low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike. Remember last night we were talking about this count, the most important count of a hitter. 1 ball, 1 strike. If the next pitch is a strike, the league on a 1 and 2 count bats 169. If the next pitch is a ball and it's a 2 and 1 count, the league is hitting 342. So this is a huge pitch. To make the point, you know what Mike Trout is hitting on a 2 ball, 1 strike count? 459. So let's see. It's 1 ball, 1 strike, but it's more than just a routine count. Latos set. Ready, deals, big curveball that drops in for a strike. That's that big change curve. Not quite the same as Clayton Kershaw, but almost. It's up there and then just drops in beautifully. All right, now Montero is on the bad side of the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Bryant off the bag at first. Bryant has stolen 12 out of 15. Latos at the belt. Right-handed deals, fastball on the hands, foul back, good fastball at 94. So we'll see about the Cubs. They like to run. The Cubs come in with 79 stolen bases, but they will run on counts like no balls and 2 strikes. So Madden can play it wide open. We'll see about Bryant now. 1 and 2 the count to Montero. Latos at the belt. There goes the runner. It is swung on and fouled at the plate. So Miguel Montero, the veteran catcher who had so many wonderful years in Arizona, up there now trying to advance Chris Bryant. In the first inning, Fowler led off with a double, and Latos responded, striking out Schwarber, Coghlan, and Rizzo. Now Bryant leads off with a single, and we're having a little meeting at the mound. No doubt over the fact that Bryant was going on that last pitch. 1 and 2 the count. Chris Bryant in the minor leagues never stole more than 8 bases. He has 12 now. Latos looks over his left shoulder at him. No running, and the pitch is swung on, popped in the air, foul. AJ coming back carrying the mask. There's no play there. And the count remains 1 and 2. We will repeat the fact that the Giants went down the tubes. They lost 6-0 today to the Cardinals and Lance Lynn. Ryan Vogelsong suffered the loss. And we're still looking at Scott Van Slyke, and he doesn't need sunglasses now. The field in shade. All right, Montero with that bad count, 1 ball and 2 strikes. We'll check Bryant again. So does Latos. Bryant's not going, and the breaking ball inside. Nice quick recovery by Ellis. I think he almost stepped on the umpire's foot. He came up ready to throw. Chad Fairchild is the umpire in his 8 years. There you go. Chad just did get his right foot out of the way. Ellis might have gotten a little bit. Chad's been umpiring for 8 years in the big league, so he knows what it's all about. 2 balls and 2 strikes the count. Latos another look. There goes Bryant. The off-speed pitch is dribbled down to Gonzalez. He has no other play but to step on the bag. So Bryant advances on the slow roller. With one out, Addison Russell coming up. Haven't been to Chicago in a while since the last time the Dodgers played the Cubs in the playoffs. Talking about Addison Russell, and I said, you know, I think there's a street named Addison in Chicago. Sure, that's the address of Wrigley Field. Addison Russell, a fine shortstop, so good they moved Starlin Castro over to second base. Russell, right-hand batter. Latos a look back at second, and the pitch of the plate is swung on and missed. One of the things that you have to worry about when you play the Cubs, they will steal. They'll steal on any count, and they will steal third. So for Latos, with Dexter Fowler leading the parade, Fowler has stolen 17. The next pitch is swung on, little foul off to the right out of play. The Cubs steal a lot of bases at any time. They'll steal with 2 strikes. They have 37 stolen bases with 2 strikes. They'll steal on an 0-2 count. They'll steal when the hitter's behind. In other words, Joe has them running. They will run at any time, and they like to steal third. Strike 2 pitch on the way, off the plate, fastball away. One ball and 2 strikes. Waiting on deck is the pitcher, John Lester, batting 8th. Here's the 1-2 pitch coming up. Latos set over the top, swung on and fouled back. We might need a little time so we can talk about Lester for the moment. John Lester, they tell me, has a very good swing. However, John Lester went 0 for 66. Got a base hit off the leg of John Lackey, so that made him 1 for 66. He is now 1 for 81, and if you want to use 5 postseason at bats, he is 1 for 86. But again, they tell me he's got a good swing. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. Russell checks on a pitch in the dirt, no swing, and they count 2-2. No score, second inning. Addison Russell trying to get the Cubs on the board. Don't forget, the team that manages to score first with these 2 teams usually does. 2-2 the count to Addison Russell. Latos very deliberate. Now the 2-2 pitch coming up, and it's swung on and fouled away. So young Addison backs out. He always makes a cross in the dirt before he gets in the box. Of course, a lot of ball players have their own little routine. Addison Russell is all of 21. He was 21 in January. First round pick by the Oakland A's. 2-2 pitch on the way. Inside all the way to the backstop, and over to third goes Bryant. Of course, last night we had enough of wild pitches. There was a mess of them in the 6th inning. Those were wild pitches against Jason Hamill. This was a high fastball. I'm not sure if Ellis was crossed up or what, but you don't see a catcher usually miss a fastball, and you expect, well, maybe he was looking breaking ball. So the infield now has to play up. 3-2 the count. And a new supply of baseballs being brought up. So Addison Russell, just a kid, but a very, very good shortstop. And a wild pitch now puts the runner at third. He checks in at 195. At the beginning of last summer, he weighed around 225. 3-2. Latos out of a stretch, running down the line from third, and the pitch fouled away again. For Addison Russell, a lot of people looked at his swing and thought it reminded them of Juan Uribe. He hit his first major league home run to help the Cubs beat the Brewers. He hit it in his 8th game, and they won the game 1-0. He got his name up with a great first baseman named Phil Cavarretta. Fastball whacked to left field down the line, hooking as it goes foul, pursued by Crawford, who reaches over in foul ground to make the catch, and scoring easily is Bryan. So the wild pitch is costly, and there you have it. The team that scores first usually wins, and the Cubs are on the board 1-0. For Russell, a very good at bat. It was a foul ball, but it almost got around to the pole, not quite. Nice catch, one-handed by Carl Crawford, but there wasn't a thing he could do about Bryan. So it's a 21-year-old shortstop that gets the run batted in. Cubs lead 1-0. Great play by Crawford. Addison feeling good about things, I'm sure. And the batter now is John Lester. So let's see. Foul ball. Remember again when they were giving us the numbers, he was 0 for 66, got a base hit against the Cardinals, a comebacker off the leg of John Lackey. He is 1 for 81, and if you want to add 5 postseason at bats, 1 for 86. He takes inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. And again, every time they were telling me about his poor numbers, they kept repeating, but he has a good swing. And the dreaded 1-1 count. Matt Latos ready, over the top, slow curveball, bad swing, 1-2 the count. 1-0 Cubs, just really starting. I was going to say warming up, but forget that. 1-0 Cubs. Latos, bases empty, into his windup, and the 1-2 fastball is low. Well, he got that thing up there at 95. That's as hard as he's thrown tonight. Boy, he had a great first inning with a magnificent breaking ball when he struck out the side. Now the 2-2 pitch on the way to John Lester. The left-hander looks at ball 3. Well, let's see. Coming into this game, Lester 1 for 45. He has not walked. He has struck out about half the time. So 3-2. Latos ready, and the 3-2 pitch is taken for ball 4. Oh, did that hurt? And Latos appears a little annoyed at Chad Fairchild. Down in the Cub dugout, they're having a lot of fun with John Lester. Several were acting as if they were going to, well, just fade and go out. All right. So John Lester spread that around. 1 for 86. Drew a walk. All right, Lester at first. Tommy La Stella, left-hand hitter, fouls the first pitch away. 0-1. Tommy appeared briefly last night as a pinch hitter and flied to center. In his time against the Dodgers, very briefly, hitting .273. Although this year he did not have a walk, it should be duly recorded that John Lester has now had 2 walks in his career. Here's the strike 1 pitch to La Stella, curveball over. 0-2 the count. So Latos can throw that slow curve in the mid-70s, and then in the first inning he was throwing the breaking ball 81, 82. All right, the strike 2 pitch to Tommy La Stella is chased, in the dirt, and he couldn't hold up. So La Stella strikes out. So 4 strikeouts in the game for Latos. However, the Cubs have scored first, and at the end of an inning and a half, 1-0 Chicago. match up reasonably well at home, but the Dodgers have a record at home of 43-20, so they are 23 games above 500. The Brooklyn club of 53 had the percentage of winning .779. The Dodgers of 55 that won the only Brooklyn championship, they were .727. You have to get down to this year's Dodger club. They have a percentage of .683. Of course, what blurs it, the fact the Dodgers are 8 games under 500 on the road. Justin Turner takes a hook in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. Lester, both feet on the rubber. Left-handed deals 0-1, and the pitch in there again, and the strike 0-2. We mentioned the Cubs just do not get Lester runs. They're averaging 2.4 runs a game. Of the 111 major league starters with at least 100 innings pitched this year, Lester ranks 109th in run support per game. And the other number that to keep in mind, when he gets 3 runs, that might not be many for most pitchers, but when he gets 3, most of the time he wins. Lester turns, ready. John comes back. Breaking ball, line drive, and a leaping catch by Addison Russell at shortstop. So Turner losing a base hit on a bullet to short, and we have one away. By the way, we also have the luxury before it happens. Let's take another look at that line drive, and Russell up to make the catch. And the batter will be Scott Van Slyke. So the young shortstop drove in the run, now takes a base hit away from Turner, and here is Scott Van Slyke. Scotty checking in with 1 out, second inning, 1-0 Chicago. Lester ready and deals good fastball at the knees, swung on and missed, and the count 0-1. John Lester has one dark cloud over him, and I'm sure it bothers him every game he pitches. Strike one pitch, big chopper wide at third and through into left field. Bryant a dive at the ball but couldn't catch up to it. So a line drive out followed by a hard ground ball single, and the batter is Carl Crawford. So here's the story on John Lester. He is a rare left-hand pitcher. Not only doesn't he like to throw to first, he rarely if ever throws to first. And it is, let's face it, it's a head case. It's a thing whereby he has no confidence in throwing. His first time to throw to first base earlier this year, we understand, he threw it in Wrigley Field all the way down to the bullpen. So we'll see whether he tries to throw to first or not, and whether the Dodgers will try to take advantage of it. Lester looks, double checks. Are you going to throw? Nope. And the first pitch in for a strike, and the count 0-1. Now Van Slyke has only stolen 2 bases. Stolen 2 out of 3. But we'll see now if the Dodgers try to take advantage of the left-hander who doesn't like to throw to first. Lester stares back to the plate. Fastball slashed foul off third down the line. 0-2 the count to Carl. Crawford, 2 home runs, 10 RBIs, banged up most of the year. That has plagued him throughout his career. I've mentioned it before. I always remember a left-hander way back in the early 50s with the Philadelphia Phillies named Curt Simmons. Here's the strike 2 pitch. Breaking ball chased. No. 1-2 the count. Curt Simmons was like Kershaw and Greinke back in 1950. The Phillies had Robin Roberts, who went on to the Hall of Fame, and Curt Simmons. Curt Simmons, a left-hander, just like Lester, would not throw to first. Here's the 1-2 pitch on the way. John looks and looks, now back to the plate. Good sweeping slider, swung on and missed, and that takes care of Crawford. Second strikeout for John Lester. I mean, when Lester takes to the mound, after all, you look at his credentials. He pitched a no-hitter against Kansas City. In 2 World Series, he pitched 21 innings for the Red Sox, allowed 1 run. His World Series record, 3-0. He's a 3-time All-Star, and otherwise he is a terrific pitcher despite an 8-9 record. Fastball in for a strike. And remember, the Cubs think he's so terrific they gave him $155 million in 6 years. As the attorneys would say, case closed. He means a lot. 0-1 the count. Lester. There goes Van Slyke. The pitch is a strike. The throw not in time. So it's a lot of pressure on Montero because the runners say, well, hey, wait a minute. If you're not going to throw over here, I'll just add an extra foot or two. Takes the jump. Tough pitch for Montero, breaking ball down and in, so it didn't have much of a chance to get him anyway. So John Lester gives up the stolen base. Dodgers now with the tying run at second, 2 out, and a no ball 2 strike count to A.J. Ellis. Another thing is we sell you John Lester because you might not know much about him. Babe Ruth was the first Red Sox left-hand pitcher to have a season of 15 wins, 30 starts, 200 innings, and a sub 3.5 ERA. Lefty Grove was the second. The third, John Lester in 2008. Oh, 0-2 the count. Here comes Lester's fastball on the outside corner. That was amazing. There was a split second where Ellis stood his ground. The umpire didn't say anything, and all of the Cubs were in motion towards the dugout. And at the end of 2, it's Cubs 1, Dodgers nothing. Wednesday, so be sure to get your tickets today. To purchase, visit Dodgers.com/tickets. The pitching matchups starting Monday, Jake Peavy and Brett Anderson. Tuesday, how about this matchup? Madison Bumgarner and Zach Greinke. And the concluding game, that will be Mike Leake and Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers have it all sketched out. So the Giants will see both Kershaw and Greinke in this series, and they will certainly see them again. That long 4-game series in San Francisco starting on the 28th. Matt Latos ready to work. Dexter Fowler, ball 1. Dexter doubled to lead off the first inning, and that's when Matt Latos turned around to strike out the side. Dexter hitting .253. The 1-0 pitch on the way. He has a look at a strike. and the count 1-1. Dodgers and Cubs, their last game of the year, will be tomorrow. Latos ready, very deliberate, and the 1-1 pitch, and that's low in the dirt. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Latos pitched briefly, struck out the side in the first inning, but labored in the second inning. He made 28 pitches. Two and 1. 1-0 favor the Cubs here in the third. And the 2-1 pitch, and that's a low strike. Came in at the knees. 2-2 the count. Matt Latos, 6'6", 235, 28 years old, actually 27 right now, 28 in December. 2-2 pitch on the way. Fowler looks, and that's in the dirt. Smothered by A.J. Ellis. 3-2 the count. I'm not sure, of course, up here what happened on that wild pitch. But when you see a fastball up above the mitt get away from a big league catcher, you have the feeling he was looking for a breaking ball. 3-2 pitch on the way. Fowler takes inside, ball 4. Second walk given up by Latos. And the batter now will be Kyle Schwarber. Well, that wild pitch, a key to the game. Bryant was able to take third, and on the foul ball by Russell down the left field line, he came in to score, and that's it. Schwarber struck out in the first inning. Soon as you see him and you say, well, he's an athlete, you think, oh yes, has to be a middle linebacker, and if he's playing baseball, he has to be a catcher, but he's in left field. Schwarber, left-hand batter. They load up the right side, and the first pitch swung on and missed. 0-1. In looking at Schwarber's numbers to get a good idea about him, a good solid 270 batting average. He's had about 160 plate appearances, almost 170, and he's only struck out 50 times. Here's the strike one pitch to the rookie left fielder, taken inside at the chest, and a 1-ball 1-strike count. Schwarber again checking down with Gary Jones in the third base coaching box. Brandon Hyde coaching at first for the Cubs. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-0 Cubs, top of the third. Latos at the belt turns to see what Fowler's up to. And it's a good idea. Fowler has stolen 17 out of 24. And as we said, the Cubs love to run on just about any count. And here's that important 1-1 count again. Latos delivers, change up very high. So now the odds swing in favor of the hitter. 2 balls and 1 strike the count. Schwarber again looking down to third. Nobody out here in the third inning. Boy, what a night. One of those evenings you look out towards center field and you see the hill with the trees, and then way off the majesty of the mountains. Here's the 2-1. There goes Fowler, and the ball hit in the air to left field. Fowler finds out where it is while Crawford makes the catch, and Fowler is back to first. So Schwarber unable to advance him with a fly ball to left. And the batter now, Chris Coghlan.
Great, Chris Coghlan.
Well, another note that we had given you earlier, when Coghlan bats third, the Cubs are 18-2. So he came up in the first inning with Fowler at second and promptly struck out. So we'll see about Chris, what he can do for Joe Madden right now. Coghlan from Gaithersburg, Maryland, but went to school at the University of Mississippi. Lives in Palm Harbor, Florida. Chris, left-handed, 6'1", 200. Been around a while. He's coming up 30 years old. Left-hand batter, swings, hits a ground ball down to Rollins. He's to the bag for 1. Easily doubles him at first, and that's that. So pretty frustrating for Chicago. They've gotten a leadoff man base 3 times in 3 innings, and they finally got 1 home. And at the end of 2 1/2 innings, 1-0 Chicago. Cubs. Still very bright. It's starting to become sunset time, but the lights are on. They don't take a great effect. And the magnificent sun slowly bidding us adieu until tomorrow. Meanwhile, the first pitch to young Jose Peraza. He chose bunt, takes a strike, and the count 0-1. The word on Howie Kendrick, we heard he might be out a little bit longer than they thought. Peraza swings and misses. They certainly need someone to back up Chase Utley, and that's what Peraza is doing. Chase draped on the railing and staring at the game. 0-2 the count. Lester into his windup, strike 2 pitch, shoots a fastball off the plate. By the way, Lester is pitching on 4 days rest. On 4 days rest, his record is 4-4, and his earned run average is 2.5. Here's the 1-2 pitch coming up to Peraza. Swung on, line drive, base hit into left center. Over to get the ball to Schwarber. So Peraza coming back from Oklahoma City, line drive single, and that will bring up Matt Latos. That's hit number 2 of John Lester. Peraza staying on a pitch down around the knees and straightened it out with the line drive single. When you look at active left-hand pitchers, the number 1 winning pitcher active is Mark Buehrle with 212, along with CC Sabathia 212. Clayton Kershaw has 109. John Lester has 124. Lester looks over at first. Latos shows bunt, and the pitch is bunted back to Lester. He's going to underhand it to first for the out. No chance for a play at second with the speedy Peraza. So Latos gets the bunt down, moves his man along. For Latos, his first sacrifice as a Dodger. And Jimmy Rollins coming up, fly to center in the first inning. We told you Lester has more wins as an active left-hander than Clayton Kershaw, 124 to 109. Kershaw's winning percentage, however, is higher, 665, Lester's 620. So 1-0 favor the Cubs. Dodgers have the tying run at second base. They had that back in the second inning when Ben Slight stole second. So Rollins trying to pick him up. Lester looks down the barrel to get a sign from Miguel Montero. Peraza a cautious lead. Tommy La Stella trying to hold him on at second base. Lester ready. John delivers and gets it in there for a strike, and the count 0-1. The big John Lester. Boy, you can spend quite a while talking about Lester and his ability, like the hairs on that fella's head, and then some. 0-1 the count. Lester delivers, slow breaking ball fouled off, and the count 0-2. You know, we were talking about the fact he doesn't throw to first. That's not quite true. He does have 28 pickoffs in his career, but he has only had 2 since 2011. Here's the strike 2 pitch on the way. John looks back at second, and there goes the runner. Peraza got a good jump, and he steals third base. So for Montero, with a pitcher who is prone to give up steals, gives up another. Van Slyke stole in the second inning, and now Peraza steals third. Neither time did Montero have a pitch a catcher would like to have on a stolen base. Each time the pitch was down, so that it took Montero to come up out of the crouch, and a split second, of course, means everything. So the Dodgers now with the runner at third. Big slow pitch off the plate. Hernandez struck out in the first inning. Lester again very deliberate. The 1-0 pitch on the way, and that's low and away. 2-0 the count with Kike Hernandez. Lester now has made 33 pitches, which is not many at all. John out of a stretch. Peraza short lead at third, and the 2-0 pitch turns the hitter around. Hernandez had to get out of the way of it. 3 balls and no strikes to count, and Adrian Gonzalez on deck. In looking at John Lester, Adrian Gonzalez 0 for 3. Hernandez 1 for 3, and it was a triple. So 3-1 the count to Kike. Cubs lead 1-0. Dodgers have the tying run 90 feet away. Lester from a stretch. 3-1 pitch to Hernandez. Ground ball to the hole. Long throw by Russell on a bounce, and it's safe at first because Rizzo had to come off the bag. The run scores, and the Dodgers tie it up. So it is Kike Hernandez with a base hit to the hole at short. I'll tell you one thing, there aren't very many shortstops who could make that play. He had to go in the hole. The ball was not hit that hard. He had to slide on his left knee, get up and throw, but the throw was just wide of the bag, and Rizzo couldn't hang on. So Hernandez gets an infield single. Scoring Peraza, who had stolen third, and the Dodgers have tied it up. A lot like last night. Cubs got a run. Dodgers came back. Left-hander ready now, and they're going to think about throwing to first. Hernandez will certainly try to distract Lester. Hernandez does not have a stolen base. He's 0 for 2. So Kike gets the run home. We have a 1-1 tie in the third. John Lester to the plate and misses away, ball 1. A reminder, the Giants lost. Cardinals beat them 6-0. So the Dodgers could increase their lead to 3.5, or should they lose, it would go back to 2.5. 1 ball and no strikes. Lester again just looking over at Hernandez. Now comes to the plate. High fly ball, not going anywhere except into Fowler's glove. And that'll be that. However, a stolen base, a steal of third, is cashed in. And at the end of 3, a 1-1 tie. Estimated 31 highway MPG. It's the perfect choice. Visit Jeep.com today. Fourth inning here at Dodger Stadium, 1-1 tie. Anthony Rizzo, the big home run hitter coming up, who appropriately enough wears the hitter's number 44 to always bring back the memory, certainly of Henry Aaron, and also for those who saw him, Willie McCovey. Anthony out of Fort Lauderdale is 6'3", 220, originally in the Red Sox organization. And ball one. The Dodgers load up the right side. The outfield, however, split a bit with a gap in right center. 1-1 tie in the fourth. Matt Latos and John Lester. The 1-0 pitch on the way. And a strike. One of the things, Rizzo pays the price. He does hang in there right on the plate, and he's a power hitter. Put it all together, he's been hit 24 times already this year. Little squirt foul ball back to the box. 1-2 the count. Rizzo could be that rare type of 30-30 player. 30 home runs and hit by pitch 30 times. Last guy who did that, Don Baylor, had 31 home runs and was hit by the pitch 35 times. 1-2. Little ground ball to the middleman out on the grass. Peraza makes the play. So one away here in the fourth inning, and Chris Bryant coming up.
Number 17.
Jake Arrieta tomorrow night against Alex Wood, and Arrieta, one of the top pitchers in the league. Arrieta is 16-6 with a great earned run average of 2.2. Alex Wood, as a Dodger, is 2-2. So here's Bryant. Ball one. Bryant singled, advanced to second on a ground ball, took third on a very costly wild pitch, and then the long foul ball got him home. That's a strike. 1-1 the count. Bryant played a lot of tournament ball as a kid, and one of those he played against and maybe with a little bit, Bryce Harper of Washington. 2-1 the count. We mentioned it last night, the fact that Joe Madden, whose original family name was Madanini and his father a plumber, changed it to Madden. He's very big on t-shirts with expressions. Ground ball not hit hard. Rollins with the arm to get him. 2 down. And the one that I like of the many that Joe has come up with, don't let the pressure exceed the pleasure. It's a pleasure to be in the big leagues. Don't let the pressure take it away from you. Another one he has, do simple better. And yet another t-shirt, 9 = 8. Meaning, give me 9 all-out innings and we'll be one of the 8 teams in the postseason. A very, very interesting man and a very nice one. Check swing for a strike on Miguel Montero. 2 down, fourth inning, 1-1 tie. By the way, if you're a bicycle rider, you'd really like Joe Madden. Bouncer kind of shakes up Ellis. 1 ball and 1 strike. Joe Madden started carrying his bicycle, I think, when he was with the Angels. And there are some great cities in both leagues for a bicycle driver, and Joe could really tell you exactly where to ride your bike. He still carries the bike, still rides it. 1 ball and 1 strike. 1-2. Dodgers had 2 managers who loved motorcycles. One was Walter Alston, but Alston used his motorcycle in Dartown, Ohio. I mean, just a series of farms. And remember Grady Little? Grady Little here in Los Angeles would get on his motorcycle and go everywhere on the freeways. So Latos really working out Ellis, bouncing that breaking ball, and the count 2-2. 2 down, 4th inning, a 1-1 tie. Ah, yes. Thank you, Mr. Sun, for your warmth. Look forward to seeing you in the morning. You have certainly done your job in keeping us warm. 3-2 the count to Miguel Montero. Hitting behind him, Addison Russell, whose foul ball got the run home in the 2nd inning. Three and two. Boy, they really give him right center. And he drives it to center. Going back on the ball is Kike, and he will make the catch. So a long out to center, 1-2-3 inning. And at the end of 3.5 innings, it's still a 1-1 tie. Fans in attendance tomorrow will receive a pair of Dodger headphones presented by Lexus. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. Well, Latos made 14 more pitches, so his pitch count is now up to 70 as we go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Greinke listening to Stan Conti. And into the bottom of the 4th, the Dodgers will have Justin Turner, Scott Van Slyke, and Carl Crawford. One of the things the Dodgers worried about is the fact of Justin Turner grinding it out, playing day after day. Foul ball out of play. So Chase Utley has actually been taking some ground balls at third base. But at the same time, they don't want to push Utley, so they have Peraza because they don't have Hendrick. So it is that time as we go into September. Of course, there's the other decision the Dodgers have to make, these September call-ups. Will Corey Seager be up? Just around the corner. 1 ball and 1 strike. We have a 1-1 tie, bottom of the 4th. Lester, a little sinker, and behind now 2 balls and 1 strike. For what a gamble the Cubs make on John Lester. I don't mean his ability, that's well known. 2-1 pitch, fouled away. Lester is 31 years old, and he has signed at 31 a 6-year deal for $155 million. In other words, what they're saying, really, he'll be as good a pitcher when he's 37 as he is at 31. Maybe. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Chopper to the hole. There's Russell on it. Right on the money. And we have 1 away. Scott Van Slyke coming up, single to left field in the second inning. Stole a base on Lester, but stayed at second when Crawford and Ellis struck out. Of course, I always think when you're talking about somebody like a Lester or a Kershaw, someone with a long contract. Mark Walter, principal owner of the ball club, had a line that resonates: pitchers break. So it's a considerable gamble. That's a strike to Scotty. 0-1. Van Slyke wearing his stolen base. 0-2. Last night, you may remember, Van Slyke finished up the game for Andre Ethier, went head first on the ground, skidded on the grass into the track, hurt his knees. 0-2. And a drive into right. It is slicing, and Coghlan still can't make the catch. And going into second base, Van Slyke. You would have to say that Coghlan's route was questionable. Jock Peterson leading the applause for Van Slyke. So Coghlan made a straight across run instead of going back on the ball. So instead of he was playing the ball was playing him. So poorly played, and the Dodgers get a big break. Instead of an out, there's a one-out double by Van Slyke. Crawford and Ellis now trying to pick him up. One run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits for the Cubs. Crawford struck out. So did Ellis back in the second inning. Lester has struck out 4 and allowed 4 hits and a run. Van Slyke will steal at any time, so the Dodgers can return the favor. Remember, Van Slyke stole second in the second inning, and Peraza stole third in the third inning. So Lester is surrounded by assassins out there on the base paths. And there goes Van Slyke, and it's fouled away. And let's see. There's got to be catcher's interference on that. They're awarding Crawford first base. They'll also have to send Van Slyke back, but Van Slyke would have had gone back anyway on the foul ball. So for Miguel Montero, he's had an error. There have been a couple of wild pitches. Now E2 charged. Apparently the glove, as he reached for it, got a little bit of the bat. Of course, they tell you never reach, but the reason he was reaching was the fact that Van Slyke was running from second to third. So catchers get in trouble, especially when you have a pitcher who doesn't hold runners on. And anybody who played his position, including in the dugout, they understand what happened there. So first and second and 1 out. And here's A.J. Ellis, and a bluff by Lester. A bluff, but no throw. Catcher's interference ruled an error if you're scoring. First and second, 1 out. Van Slyke taking a big lead. Anything to distract or upset Lester. 1 ball and no strike. Van Slyke looks like his car broke down on the way to the ballpark. Hiding behind the umpire, eh? 1 ball and no strikes. Low and inside, ball 2. AJ 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. When Grandal hurt his shoulder on the foul ball, AJ began to perk up a little. Chris Bosio is the pitching coach, but let's see. It looks like the skipper himself is going out there. Yep, Joe Madden is there. Remember, we told you about his T-shirts. One that he wears now is "Do Simple Better." All right, he's giving a little pep talk. First and second, 1 out, 4th inning in a 1-1 tie. Joe really likes his ball club. They are young. He was talking about the other day, the guys were diving, crashing into walls, running out, everything, and they were losing 9-1. All right, they're about ready. Ellis up there with a 2-ball, no strike count, and Jose Peraza, who singled, on deck. Van Slyke taking a big lead, so big I would guess that Montero, the catcher, has a sign with Lester when somebody is taking liberties, especially out there at second base, and the left-hander has his back to the runner. Though up there he goes again, double steal, and it's instead a foul ball. So for Van Slyke, definitely he's going to have that uniform cleaned and burned. There he goes. And right behind him was Carl Crawford. What was it in Charlie Brown? Linus was always the one with the Pigpen. That's there it is. Well, there is Pigpen. 2-1 the count. And Lester really has to be worried about Van Slyke, who has tried to steal third twice. Peraza has stolen third. Van Slyke has already stolen second. So he's a very good pitcher with a weakness. That's in there at the knees. 2-2, 92-mile-an-hour fastball. So 1 out, 4th inning, a 1-1 tie. We were talking earlier about the DVD the Cubs produced to try and convince him to go to Chicago. Half swing, strike 3. Ellis goes down for the second out, and the batter will be Peraza. The Giants were after John Lester so much that 4 days earlier from the DVD, Larry Baer, the general manager Brian Sabean, Bruce Bochy, and catcher Buster Posey, who had driven 3 hours from his home in Georgia, to tell Lester when he answered the doorbell, "Hi, I'm Buster Posey, and I want to be your catcher for the next 6 years." It just blew Lester away. 2 out. And Peraza, fly ball to right field. Coghlan is there, handles this one, and that's the inning. Had Coghlan made a better route on the ball hit by Van Slyke, it would have been a much easier inning for Lester. And at the end of 4, a 1-1 tie. In Game 2 of the 2008 Division Series. So don't miss Timeless Dodgers tomorrow, 1 p.m. on Sportsnet LA. Meanwhile, we go to the 5th inning in a 1-1 tie. For John Lester, in his 4 innings, he's made 10 pitches, 13 pitches, 15 pitches, and 15. Put them all up, that's only 53. In the 4 innings for Matt Latos, he has made 70 pitches. The second inning is when he worked hard. He made 28. He almost pitched a tattoo off in that inning. Almost. 1 run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 2 hits for the Cubs. Here's the 21-year-old shortstop, Addison Russell, whose foul ball down the left field line got Brian home from third to give the Cubs a temporary 1-0 lead, and then the Dodgers came back to tie it up in the third. 1-1 in the 5th. And promptly a bang shot into left field. So Addison Russell with an RBI now comes up with a line drive single, and that will bring up John Lester.
Number 34, John Lester.
Well, you certainly have to believe that he's up there to bunt. Lester might not have any hits. He has 1 for 46, but he does have 5 sacrifices. Remember, the pitchers hitting 8th. Tommy LaStella, the second baseman, on deck. The bunt in the air, foul, diving try. Did he or didn't he? Yes, he did. Whoa, what a play by Justin Turner. Great play. So Lester pops it up. Here comes Turner, and the redhead makes a great pick. Big play.
Tommy LaStella.
Keeps Russell at first, and Tommy LaStella coming up. Russell, the young shortstop, has 2 stolen bases. He's been caught 3 as Schwarber and Lester talk in the dugout. 1 away. So Russell now trying to make Latos think about it. The Dodgers having already put a lot of pressure on John Lester. One run, 4 hits for the Dodgers. 1 run, 3 hits for the Cubs. And look at Mr. Moon. He's almost embarrassed to look that good. Or maybe he's just shy. 1 ball and no strikes to Tommy LaStella. Playing second base for Starlin Castro. Tommy's from close to New Jersey, but he wound up going to school in South Carolina. One ball and no strikes. There goes the runner. A ground ball up the middle, finds a hole. So the runner Russell just keeps on going to third. Boy, you talk about 2 infielders trying to converge on a ball up the middle, and somehow it finds its way right through. Peraza couldn't get it. Russell couldn't get it. And Russell just flies on and takes third. Rollins came close, but that's about it. Chopper up the middle. Probably the fellow who's the most upset is Latos. That ball went right under his glove. So runners at first and third with 1 out. And you can see that diving catch by Justin Turner saved a run, at least for the moment. Not much he could do about a ball up the middle that just got under Latos' glove. Now Dexter Fowler doubled and walked. First and third, 1 out in a 1-1 tie. 1 run, 4 hits for each side. Ball 1. Fowler led off the game with a double and led off the third inning with a walk. One and one. Addison Russell runs pretty well, but just before Latos delivered, Justin Turner was breaking to the bag just to try and take a step away from him. Not that he was going to try and steal home, especially not with a left-hand hitter up there. And that's a little low. With a runner at third, we're always wondering about the pitcher. Latos, when he came to the Dodgers, had 9 wild pitches. He does not have a wild pitch as a Dodger. 2-1. Off speed, he tried to wait and then take a pitch, and instead just fouled it away. 2-2. Waiting on deck behind Fowler, Carl Schwarber, who has struck out and flied to left. Giants lost, so the Dodgers have a big chance tonight. But they're tied up 1-1. Check swing, no swing. A lot of off-speed pitches, and Fowler trying to hold back, and he was just able to. He's gonna rip that thing and then hang on. So 3-2 with 1 out. We'll see about La Stella at first. He is not going, and a check swing, strike 3. So Fowler has a bad at bat on a lot of off-speed pitches. Joe says a lot when he shakes his head.
Left fielder Kyle Schwarber.
So Kyle Schwarber coming up. That's another bad ball, and Fowler could not hold up. Huge out. Luis Avilan, the Dodger left-hander, gets up in the bullpen. So Fowler has a big chance, can't do it. And now we'll see about the rookie Schwarber, who has struck out as Avilan gets ready. Schwarber last time up flied to left. They load up the right side, and ball 1. Good block by Ellis. So in the inning, Russell singled. Lester's bunt fouled out. Great diving catch by Justin Turner, but La Stella then singled, driving Russell to third. Fowler just could not hold up on those slow curveballs. He's a very aggressive hitter, and he paid the price and struck out. So now they're relying on the rookie to break the tie. 1 ball and no strikes. And ball 2. Behind Schwarber is another left-hand hitter, Chris Coghlan. Dodgers trying to get out of a tough spot. When Schwarber was in high school, he was a 4-time MVP and second-team All-Ohio linebacker. That's how good he was. That's a strike. 2 years ago, Schwarber was selected the best catcher in the country by National Collegiate Baseball writers. He became a catcher because his attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. Couldn't focus from any other position but catcher, and thank goodness for him, he's okay now. Well, Latos just did get by Fowler. Now he's in a hole. 3-1 to Schwarber. Take a look at the last pitch. That close and missed inside. So that was a good take by Schwarber. 3-1 the count. Way out in front. They're young. They're anxious. They're over-eager. Not showing the patience. Remember, Kershaw nailed 14 last night. And that was a balk. Yes, it was. Matt Latos said he was off the rubber, and they're saying no, he was going to make a fake throw while standing on the rubber. And of course, you can't do that. So Mattingly's coming out talking to Greg Gibson at third. Mattingly is saying he stepped back. Latos said he stepped back, but the other umpires said no, he was standing on the rubber. So now let's see. Greg Gibson, the plate umpire last night, has summoned the other umpires. Matt Latos wisely walks away. I'm not sure really which umpire called it. Take a look. We can see the third base umpire. Let's take another look at that. See where his feet would be. He's pointing to the ground saying I was off the rubber, but here. All right. He's on the rubber. He turns. It looks like he's still on the rubber. Yep. So I would think that is a legitimate balk. Mattingly's not finished, however. Jim Joyce is doing the talking. He's the senior umpire with the fancy mustache. So the balk is in the books. So Mattingly's still talking. Mattingly kept saying, why don't you take a look at this? We did, but the umpires are not. So that's the source. Watch again. His right foot's on the rubber. Turns. It looks like he dragged his foot the length of the rubber and then held on. Take another look. See him touch? Yeah. So now the umpires are going to gather yet again. Giants lost, so it's a big moment in a big game. There are plays that are not allowed to be reviewed. They're going to call the balk. The run is in, and the Cubs lead 2-1. The senior umpire, Jim Joyce, who was at second base, was the man who called it, and actually he had the best view of Latos' right foot. So the Dodgers give up a tough run on the balk. Down to second goes Lastea. Meanwhile, Schwarber up there 3-2. Cubs 2, Dodgers 1, top of the fifth. See how upset Latos is now because of the balk. Down and dirty for ball 4. So Latos walked Fowler in the third inning. He walked Lester, the pitcher, remember, in the second inning. So this would be his third walk. And he is charged with 2 runs, 4 hits. And Coghlan backed by Rizzo. And now Mattingly might very well. He's had Avilan in the bullpen. And the Cubs have their back-to-back left-handers. They let Schwarber face Latos. But they took Latos out for Coghlan and maybe Rizzo as well. So Matt goes out, losing 2-1 on the balk. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, now pitching for the Dodgers, number 43, Luis Avilan.
pitcher coming out of a game early in the game, it would be his number of pitches, 86. And of course, of all of them was the throw he didn't make, either to home or to first. The balk brings home the tie-breaking run, and the Cubs lead 2-1. Luis Avilan will get a couple of left-hand hitters back-to-back, Coghlan and maybe Rizzo. 2 down in the inning. The inning started with Russell getting a base hit to left field. Lester tried to bunt and fouled out the bunt on a diving catch by Justin Turner. But La Stella ground ball single up the middle, and Russell went to third. It looked like Latos was going to get out of the inning. He struck out Fowler. But while he was walking Schwarber, he was worrying about the runner La Stella at first and balked. And the run came in. Jim Joyce, the veteran umpire, the crew chief, called it. And now Avilan will pick up. Coghlan has struck out, hit into a double play. Fastball, a one-hopper to Adrian, and that's out. So Coghlan, even though when he's batting third, the record is 18-2, a very frustrated Latos, and you can understand that. Goes out losing at the end of 4.5 innings, 2-1 Chicago. Now at Toyota's annual clearance event, get amazing deals on every new Toyota. 2-1 in favor of Chicago. Bottom of the 5th inning. The difference, a balk, and John Lester going to work. Luis Avilan, the left-hand pitcher who came in to take care of Coghlan, up there with the bat. 1 ball and no strikes. Outfield very shallow, playing in left field. That's a strike. 1-1. By the way, remember Mattingly was saying to the umpires, why don't you take a look at it? There is a list of reviewable plays. Those plays where the umpires can review. But they also say if it's not mentioned in the list, and it's about as long as your arm, if it's not mentioned in the list, you cannot review it. So when Don said, why don't you take a look at it, the umpires did not have to do it at all. That's an easy out on Avilan, and we have 1 away in the 5th inning. The other night, last night, there was a play where it certainly looked like the Cubs had missed second base on a double play. And they say in the reviewable play types, force plays, including or excluding neighborhood plays. So there was no way that they could look at that either. I guess if they put all the plays reviewable, we'd have 5-hour games. Ball one. Jimmy Rollins fly to center, struck out, 0 for 2. One ball and one strike. Cubs scored a run in the second. Dodgers came back with a run in the third. Cubs come up with a run in the fifth. Lead 2-1. And again, hanging over the game. The story about the team that scores first usually wins. Cubs have won 53 of those games. Dodgers have won 50. And the Cubs scored first tonight. A drive to center, heading for Fowler's glove. 2 down here in the fifth inning. And the batter, Kike Hernandez.
The fielder, Kike Hernandez.
Earlier, we were talking about John Lester because, let's face it, he certainly is a high-profile pitcher. We were talking about, the DVD that the Cubs sent him, a make-believe World Series that he would be involved in. They talked about the Giants showing up. And while the Giants were trying to get him and the Cubs were trying to get him, the Cubs did some more stuff. Ball one. They continued to woo Lister. They sent flowers to his wife, fine wines, camouflage Cubs shirts, and hats to John. He's a wine aficionado, I understand, and an avid hunter. Fly ball to left field, coming up late, but he's there. That'll do it for Schwarber and for the Dodgers. And at the end of 5, 2-1 Chicago. In June of that same year, Dodger first baseman Gil Hodges hit for the cycle. Here in Los Angeles, first baseman Wes Parker hit for the cycle, and the last one turned in by the O-Dog, Orlando Hudson, on opening day. 4 cycles of memory, bringing back that first one by Jackie Robinson. Let's go back to this one. Two to one. The memory of Jackie, of course, will stay forever as long as this game is played. Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Miguel Montero do up against a left-hander Avilan. Foul ball off the protective railing. The good thing that railing was there. 0-1 the count. Rizzo struck out, grounded out, homered last night. Anthony played for Team Italy in the World Baseball Classic 2 years ago. His great grandfather is from Sicily, which is why they selected him. I told you what, it sounded like a tragic story, the fact that he had Hodgkin's lymphoma, but his mom, who would drive all over the place to watch him play, she was diagnosed with cancer about 7 years ago. 0-2 the count to Anthony Rizzo. When Anthony was a kid playing first base, his father made it tough for him. His dad used to hit golf balls. Anthony had to field them at first base. You either learn or you get hurt. 1-2. There are only 4 left-hand batters in the long history of the Chicago Cubs to have hit at least 32 home runs in a single season. Billy Williams did it 4 times. Most he hit 42 back in 1970. Bill Nicholson hit 33 during the war. Rick Monday hit 32 along with Anthony Rizzo, who did it last year. Bill Nicholson, boy, he was something. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jammed him. Nicholson was a tremendous favorite of the Cubs because he hit home runs. He also chewed tobacco. And you know the walls in Wrigley Field covered with ivy. And he would hit a home run and they would shower the area with plugs of tobacco. And Nicholson would pick them all up and stick them in the ivy. And then after the game, the groundskeeper would go out and pick up all the chewing tobacco and bring it back in to Bill. 1-2. He had a very, very powerful swing, but before he let the swing go, he used to keep pumping the bat, almost aiming it at the pitcher. 1, 2, and each time in Ebbets Field, the crowd would go swish, swish. And of course, they tried to drive Nicholson crazy, but he turned the tables on them. And then I remember Nicholson was the first batter I ever saw who was walked intentionally with the bases loaded. I mean, on 4 pitches, 4 wide ones. Breaking ball, slow roller. 1 away. I know it has happened before and it happened since, but it was a big shock to me. The Giants, the New York Giants, were playing the Cubs. Mellott was the manager of the Giants. And the Giants had a big lead, maybe 6-7 run lead. So if Nicholson hits a grand slam, it's all now a game. And Adi would not give him the opportunity and just put up 4 fingers. Walk him right now. We'll give you the run. Check swing for a strike. Chris Bryant singled, came home on the foul ball off the bat of Addison Russell. And the key in that inning was the wild pitch that advanced Bryant to third, and that's how he got home. Fastball away at 93. Two to 1 favor the Cubs. Remember we told you way back? I'm not sure, maybe you weren't paying attention, and if you weren't, that's okay. I know, I'm not going to get mad. But if Lester gets 3 runs, his winning percentage is over 80%. He's 113 and 28. Now Lester sitting back resting. He gotten 2. If he gets 1 more, he gets even tougher. 1 ball and 2 strikes the count. Bryant 1 for 2. Montero on deck. A lot of left-handers. You had Fowler, a switch hitter, but if you want to just think of him batting left-handed, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of the starting 9 left-handed batter. Two and 2. Luis Avilan is from Caracas in Venezuela. 6'2", 200-pounder. Just turned 26. Originally signed by the Braves. Came up to the Braves in 2012, 13, 14, and 15. That's why. Got good stuff. Takes care of Bryant. So 6 Cubs have struck out tonight. That means 20 Cubs have struck out in 15 innings. So now another left-hand batter, Montero, coming up. So one thing, if you're going to start an all left-handed lineup or close to it, you're wide open for left-handed pitching. And of course last night they really got a dosage when Clayton Kershaw struck out 14. Meanwhile, Dexter Fowler talking to pitching coach Chris Bosio. 1 ball and no strikes to Miguel Montero. Grounded out last time up. Fly deep to center. Hernandez went back, made a good play. 2 balls and no strikes. Montero, a couple of years ago, got the Good Guy Award over in Arizona. They give it out to the player most fostering a positive relationship with the media. And he's one of those tireless people. I remember talking to Kirk Gibson about him, and Gibby said he's unbelievable how strong he is, how peppy he is. He's amazing. He's always chirping away, always has a good, positive attitude. And by the way, he's fluent in English and Spanish. He taught himself English. He's from Venezuela. So they're both from Caracas here. That's a strike. Have you ever been to Caracas, Venezuela? There are parts of that city that would break your heart. People living in cardboard boxes up along the hillside. Oh my gosh. Fastball and a comebacker. So a nice inning for Avilan. He's retired 4 in a row, getting the last out in the 5th and the side in the 6th. And we are heading for the bottom of the 6th. 2-1 Chicago. Tomorrow at 5 o'clock with ESPN, and then of course the big 3 with the Giants, and that will end on a Wednesday. Dodgers then go out on the road. 4 in San Diego, 3 in Anaheim, and 3 more in Arizona. Then they'll come home for a good long homestand. Colorado, Pittsburgh, and Arizona. But right now, 1 more with the Cubs. Avilan pitching well. He's made 18 pitches, retiring 4 batters. It's 2-1 in favor of the Cubs and John Lester. Oh, by the way, talking about 1-run victories, the most in the National League are all from the Central Division. Pittsburgh, Chicago, and St. Louis have all won 28 one-run games. Pittsburgh 28-15, the Cubs 28-17, and the Cardinals 28-20. You're interested in the Dodgers? They've won 17, but they've lost 21. Foul ball, second level. Chris Hatcher gets up in the Dodger bullpen. Meanwhile, John Lester rolling along nicely. Lester struck out 14 Rockies in July. You know, that was the most by a Cubs left-hander in at least 100 years. Slider away, 1-2. You know, talking about Lester, when the Red Sox took him in the second round in 2002, it was the Cubs who had the previous pick. They took a first baseman who never made it. 3 picks later, the Dodgers took Jonathan Broxton. Lester now with a 2-2 count. Big breaking ball, and down goes Adrian. Big slow bender. Justin Turner coming up made a wonderful diving catch, remember, of the bunt by John Lester. Turner charging in, looking for the bunt, and makes that diving catch. Great play. Look how close to hitting the ground, but a clean catch. So here's Justin, lined out. Addison Russell up the ladder to take a base hit away from him. And last time up, he grounded to Russell. Fouls that away. No balls and 1 strike. You know, when John Lester was signed by the Cubs, they checked in Las Vegas to see what kind of an effect did that have on the odds of the Cubs going to the World Series. 1-1. Well, in October, the Cubs opened up as a 50-1 shot to win this year's World Series. Then the odds were lowered to 20-1. And when the team signed Joe Madden, that dropped the odds to 12-1. So the only 3 teams with better odds besides Madden at 12-1 were the Dodgers, the Red Sox, and the Nationals. Pretty hard for the Cubs to do the challenge, despite Lester is that good, and some of the kids are going to be better and better. History said there's no way the Cubs could do it. Line drive, just foul. The Cubs last year won 73 games. 3 teams in the past 10 years have won a pennant following a season with fewer wins than 73. That would be the 2006 Tigers, the 08 Rays, and the 2013 Red Sox. Boy, that was a good demonstrative foul call by Greg Gibson. He had a lot in on that. We ought to show that again if we can. There was no doubt. You could see just watching the umpire, that was indeed a foul ball. 1-2. Foul back. Here's the call. I mean, you could spot this. Watch him. All right, it's going to go foul. Let me see, Greg. Up there, and then winds up and whammo. Throws a big fisted right hand. I think Ron Renicky is teasing him a little bit about the call. A little overacting. 1-2. Slap down the right field line. Foul. 1-2. Well, anyway, with the Cubs, they've already equaled the 73 wins that they had last year, but they are not about to win the World Series. Right now, they're 9 games behind the Cardinals. what they tried to sell Lester with. They said, John, joining the Cubs, that would be the same as Curt Schilling joining the Red Sox before the 2004 season. I mean, they did such a sell job on John Lester. He just had to sign with them. So he got a 6-year deal, a 7th-year vesting option, use of a private jet for 25 hours annually. And the next night he said, okay, I'm a Cub. The Cubs in the wild card race, which is another story, and let's say they do come back, get the wild card, and get into the World Series. Well, they have to beat out Pittsburgh for the moment. Well, Joe will think of something. Certainly a new T-shirt. 1 ball and 2 strikes to count. John Lester, a no-hit pitcher, 3-time All-Star, 2-time World Series champion. From Tacoma, Washington. Last we checked, he lived in the Atlanta area. 1-2. Fastball got him. So Turner taking a fastball for strikeout number 3. 7 strikeouts and back-to-back strikeouts now with Lester. So Turner is rung out. Just catches the corner. Down he goes. Here's Van Slyke, who has given Lester a bad time. Singled and stole a base and doubled. Big bouncer to the shortstop. Russell right on the money. So a very easy inning, which is what Lester needed in the 6th. And at the end of 6, Cubs 2, Dodgers 1. Nissan. Choose Nissan today for great offers on our most exciting lineup ever. Choose Nissan.com. And by DraftKings. Play daily fantasy baseball for free on DraftKings.com. Use promo code BlueCrew for free entry. We've reached the 7th inning. The Cubs leading the Dodgers 2-1. It'll be the bottom of the lineup. Russell, then the pitcher John Lester, and the second baseman Tommy La Stella. That was the combination that produced the balk in the 5th inning, which is now the difference in the game. Strike. 0-1. Russell, a terrific shortstop, good enough to move Castro to second base. 9 home runs, so he has some pop. Of course, in Wrigley Field, that's the one place, as Chris Hatcher is now in the ball game. When you come to Wrigley, the first thing you do is look at the flags. Wind blowing in, blowing out. It makes such a difference. For the Cubs at home, home runs, it's not that much of an advantage. Cubs have hit 69 home runs. The opposition has hit 64, and there'd be no help from the wind here tonight, that's for sure. That's on the corner. So Hatcher picks up a strikeout. That's 7 strikeouts for Dodger pitchers tonight, though it also means 21 Cubs have struck out in 15 1/3 innings. On the road, the Cubs have hit 64 and the opposition 47. So they're actually better off hitting on the road than they are at Wrigley. Lester has walked and lost the sacrifice on that diving catch by Justin Turner. Lester 0 for 1, so he is 1 for 46 this year. That's a strike. So Lester, who picked up the second walk of his career back in the second inning, goes away empty-handed. Say, be sure to watch every out-of-market game live or on demand in true HD on over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, and more every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions apply, so visit MLB.TV for details. 1 ball and no strikes. Tommy La Stella. That's a strike. La Stella struck out in the second inning, singled Russell to third in the 5th, and that's when Latos balked and Russell came in with the big run. 2-1 Chicago. Chris Hatcher called back from Oklahoma City, throwing the ball very well of late. 2 balls, 1 strike to count. He's out of Kinston, North Carolina. 30 years old, 6'2", 205-pounder, and originally drafted by the Marlins. 3-1 the count to Estella. Tommy's about 5'11". Bends at the knees and waist, so doesn't give you too much of a zone. And he's aboard. So a 2-out walk will bring up Dexter Fowler. And of course Hatcher, I'm sure, watching from the bullpen in left field, saw that Dexter Fowler was so anxious to kill the ball that he had several check swings and eventually called out on a bad pitch in the dirt on a check swing. But you make a mistake and boom, he's got 14 home runs. Since he's the leadoff man, there's no risk if you run La Stella, and that's part of the plan. That's right. Joe Madden bats his pitcher 8th, so if the number 9 man gets aboard with 2 out, if he runs La Stella and you throw him out, okay, then you lead off the next inning with Dexter Fowler. Checked and another strike. So Fowler's getting a lot of strikes without a good swing. 0-2. He took 1 swing in the first inning and doubled, and hasn't been heard from since. La Stella is 1 for 1 in stolen bases. He's only been in 7 games. He's not gone. 1-2. Hatcher's last pitch registered at 97. La Stella just called up, certainly not familiar with Chris Hatcher. He certainly looks quick enough to be a threat. You have 2 down here. We're in the 7th inning. 2-1 Cubs, and La Stella the runner at first. 1-2 to Dexter Fowler. Fowler apparently loves sneakers, because I had a note on him that he has over 300 pair of sneakers. One ball and 2 strikes. There goes Estella. Pitch is low, and the throw goes into center field. However, tying him up is Jimmy Rollins at second base. So it's a good idea always in this kind of a situation, run him. If you lose, okay, Fowler leads off the next inning. Throw on a bounce, got away, but Rollins kind of leaning forward. Not that he was interfering, but there was no way La Stella could have gotten up to move on. So that means a little more discussion with Fowler. Deuce is wild here with 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, and a runner at second. So Fowler up there with a big. Now you have the rookie Schwarber on deck. How careful are they going to be with Fowler? Two and 2. Way outside. All right, 3-2 with 2 down. For La Stella, he doesn't have to worry at all about Peraza. Schwarber waiting on deck. Rollins is directly behind the runner. Big pitch, 3-2. And inside, breaking ball for ball 4. So Hatcher now 2 on, 2 out. Down in the Dodger bullpen, J.P. Howell begins to loosen up. And we'll see about whether they bring in Howell to face Schwarber, knowing that perhaps if you bring in Howell and they're checking to see if he's ready, they might go to Caesar, who played in last night's game. All right. Don Mattingly announcing that J.P. Howell is in the game. Looks like there'll be a double switch, and it's Andre Ethier. So Ethier will head to left field. The last out for the Dodgers made by Van Slyke. So that would appear to be where the pitcher would go as Ethier comes in to bat 9th. And we'll be right back. the anticipated move. J.P. Howell comes in to pitch. Andre Ethier comes to play right field. If you're keeping score, put Howell in Van Slyke's spot. Put Ethier batting ninth, so he would be due up fourth in the bottom of this seventh inning. Meanwhile, for Joe Maddon, he's going to find out something right away about Kyle Schwarber. He's a .320 hitter against right-handers and a .170 hitter against a left-hand pitcher. Big curveball for a strike. Chris DeNorfia is out on deck. He would bat for Chris Coghlan. Schwarber has 10 home runs against right-handers, only 2 against left-handers, but Maddon playing a hunch and DeNorfia waiting. 0-1. One ball and one strike. Schwarber struck out in the first inning, flied to left field in the third, walked in the fifth. Hatcher made 18 pitches, struck out 2, and walked 2, and the Cubs lead 2-1. And off the plate. Dodgers have to worry. As we mentioned, the Cubs will steal on any count, and they will certainly steal third. You have a left-hand hitter up, Anthony Rizzo, listening to Joe Maddon. Two and one. Off speed, got the corner. So deuces are really wild here. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out, 2 on, and the Cubs lead 2-1. You don't want to go 3-2, so it's a big pitch. And down he goes. So Maddon stayed with the left-hand hitter who's not hitting against left-handers, and the Dodgers dodge a bullet. And the Dodger pitchers, Avalon and now Hatcher and Howell, strike out the side. And as we go to the bottom of the seventh, it's still 2-1 Chicago. Bottom of the seventh inning, 2-1 Chicago. Carl Crawford shows bunt, takes a strike. 0-1. Crawford tonight struck out and reached on catcher's interference That meant Montero, in lunging for a pitch, interfered with the swing, and Montero was charged with an error. 0-1. 0-2. For Lester, he has been brilliant. He has struck out 7. He has not walked anybody. Again, remember, we were talking about what a deceiving record he has. If you come into the ballpark and you look, he's 8 wins, 9 losses, and you think, oh, well, there's not much there. Then you find out the Cubs score 2.4 runs per game for him. 2. That's what he's gotten tonight. 1-2. Curveball low. 2-2. Line drive, base hit. So the Dodgers have the tying run aboard, and it's a fellow who runs well, Carl Crawford. For the Dodgers to get a base hit leading off the inning, that's only the second time tonight they've got a leadoff man aboard. So the Dodgers 1 run, 5 hits. The Cubs 2 runs, 4 hits. And here's A.J. Ellis, who has struck out twice. 4 home runs, 12 RBIs. Justin Grimm, a right-hander, gets up in the Cub bullpen. Time. Remember a couple of things. Lester hates to throw to first, worries about throwing to first. The league knows that. The Dodgers had Van Slyke steal second in the second inning. Jose Peraza stole third on Lester. And now you have Crawford, who runs very well. Although he's not played very much, he has stolen 3 out of 4. So it all goes into the mix. There he goes. Got a good jump. The throw on a bounce wouldn't have been on time anyway. So when you see Lester and you realize he's had such a wonderful career, and yet it's amazing how they can run him right out of a game. You know, he won 19 games in 2010. He won 16 and 15 before the 19, 15 after. So now he's in trouble. The tying run at second. You knew Crawford was going to go. Jose Peraza is hitting behind Ellis if you're thinking about having Ellis sacrifice. Ellis has 2 sacrifices if you wanted to move him and leave it up to Peraza. 0-1 the count. They're looking bummed. Full swing foul. One thing for sure, and it's again something they're thinking about. So in comes La Stella to talk to Lester. That is, if Ellis shows bunt, and if Chris Bryant starts to come in for the bunt, if you time it right, the door is wide open and Crawford steals third. So we will see. It's up to La Stella to try and take the lead away from Crawford. Full swing, dribbled foul. So now the corners will go back. No balls and 2 strikes. Two runs, 4 hits for the Cubs, 1 run, 5 hits for the Dodgers. Giants lost to the Cardinals 6-0 this afternoon. 0-2, nobody out. Fastball, 94. John Lester has made 86 pitches. He has not made more than 15 pitches in an inning. He's done that 3 times. He's had one inning where he made only 10 and another inning where he made only 9. Off speed. Wow, what a bad pitch. 0-2. And stopping at third is Crawford. Now that was a gift. I guess with all of the other pitches he could have thrown, Lester will second guess himself and Montero. A slow curveball on a no ball 2 strike count. I mean, that's an apple on a tree. Wow. Though Ellis stayed right on it. Singles to right field. Dodgers now first and third, nobody out. And I'm sure the Chicago battery kind of second guessing themselves.
Second baseman number 18. Jose.
Yeah, that no ball 2 strike hit that will break your heart every time. All right, here's Peraza, first and third. And Andre Ethier, remember, is batting 9th. No squeeze. Crawford wasn't going. 1 ball and no strikes. 2-1 Chicago. Renicky now down to talk to Peraza by orders of the manager. You have a rookie and a new third base coach. Mattingly immediately hollered, "Get down and talk to him." One ball and no strikes. Peraza has singled, flied to right. Infield in double play depth. 93-mile-an-hour fastball. 1-1. Madden gesturing to Montero. Ellis at first, Crawford at third. 1-2. Another fastball on the outside part of the plate. 1 ball and 2 strikes. I don't believe we're going to see that slow curve on a no ball 2 strike count again. Another fastball away. Manager deep in thought. Fastball lined into right center. Not only does Crawford score the tying run, the Dodgers have runners at second and third and nobody out. And I knew we wouldn't see that slow curveball again. That's for sure. So Peraza is having a big night. He has a single. He stole third and came home. He now doubles to drive in the tying run and put runners at second and third. And Andre Ethier coming up with first base open. So second and third, the tying run in. 2-2 here in the 7th inning. Andre Ethier, the infield is up. The outfield is not exactly shallow. They're in a throwable position to try and make a play at the plate, either on a fly ball for the runner at third or a base hit to try and get Peraza. 1 ball and no strikes. Slider down and away. 2-0 the count. So the Cubs 18-7 in the month of August, and Ethier doing even better. Crawford cooling off as the tying run in the dugout. A shot up the middle. That's going to be good for 2 runs. In comes Ellis. In comes Peraza. And the Dodgers have opened it up and lead 4-2. So Andre Ethier just gets in the game and whacks one behind Lester into center. Good for 2 more. And it's 4-2 Dodgers. And that'll do it for John Lester. For Peraza, that was his first major league run batted in. And for Andre Ethier, another key appearance. And John Lester is dispatched. Still thinking, I'm sure, of that slow breaking ball, no balls and 2 strikes to A.J. Ellis. 4-2 Dodgers. We'll be right back. Is brought to you by Jack in the Box. For a limited time, try the new Portobello Mushroom Buttery Jack with melted garlic herb butter. And by Flex Alert. This summer, the power is in your hands. FlexAlert.org. 4-2 in favor of the Dodgers. Jimmy Rollins now facing Justin Grimm, with Andre Ethier at first base having driven in 2. Justin Grimm, right-hander out of Bristol, Virginia, 6'3", 195. Just turned 27. And the change misses. That's a great name for a reliever coming in after a lead has been blown. It's a little grim for the Cubs, although we still have the 8th and the 9th. And remember that story, which has held up a great deal. The team that scores first wins. Well, tonight the Cubs scored first. The Dodgers first last night. 2-0 the count. But John Lester, tough night. Doing a great job. And then Crawford, a left-hand batter, gets a base hit. Ellis, an 0-2 breaking ball, is slapped into right field. Peraza, the kid second baseman, doubles. High foul, out of play. Two and one the count to Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy tonight fly to center, struck out, fly to center again. Two and one. Fastball missed. Grimm, when he was in high school, opted to commit to the University of Georgia rather than sign with the Red Sox. He eventually signed with the Rangers out of the university. 3-1. Fastball and a high fly ball to deep right center. It looks playable, however, and it's made by Coghlan. So a long out, and the first out of the inning.
Number 14, Kike Hernandez.
Kike Hernandez struck out, singled to drive in a run, and fly to left. That's when Peraza stole third, and then Kike got one up the middle. 4 runs, 8 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Cubs. Ball 1. Kike having a look at Renicky. Ethier over there at first doing the same. There goes Ethier. Hit and run, ground ball into right field. By the time Coghlan comes in, Ethier's all the way to third. So Kike manages to put the bat on the ball, a grass cutter into right field, like you're mowing your lawn. That's the 5th hit for the Dodgers in the inning. There goes Ethier, and look at that. Just hugging the ground, and Ethier breezing to third. 5 hits and a long fly ball for an out. Adrian Gonzalez coming up. Gonzalez grounded to third, fly to center, and struck out. Foul back. When Grimm made his major league debut, that was back in June of 2012. He made it against the Houston Astros. He went 6 innings, no walks, struck out 7. Turned out to be the winning pitcher. So he had as good a debut as Steven Strasburg. 7 strikeouts, no walks, and a win. But he's got a good arm. 1-1. A lot of deep players as far as thoughts are concerned. They all know the Giants lost. And there's a base hit into left field. Ethier will score. Stopping at second is Hernandez. And the Dodgers have added another and lead 5-2. So Gonzalez joins the fun. He goes 1 for 4. So the Dodgers having a riotous inning. They had 4 straight hits, then an out, and 2 more hits. So 6 of 7 batters joining the fun. So Ethier scores. It's a 4-run inning. And now let's see. Chris Bosio heading his way to the mound. Bosio was a no-hit pitcher in his day. In fact, those who remember Chris Bosio, he pitched a no-hitter against the Red Sox in April of 1993. He walked the first 2 batters in the first inning, and the pitching coach came out and said, throw some strikes, settle down, and pitch a no-hitter. And Bosio said, okay, I'll try, and he did. On April the 22nd, 1993. Bosio reporting into his manager, and here's Justin Turner. He's the 8th man to come up. Dodgers have 2 on and 1 out. And ball 1. Coming out on deck, Chase Utley. Utley would bat for Howell, who was in the original spot occupied by Van Slyke. 1 ball and no strikes. In there. Dodgers trying to make it 4 out of 6 against the Cubs in their final meeting tomorrow. Dodgers, remember, started off with a 5-game losing streak. The last place Reds got them back on the beat. They beat the Reds 3 straight. Now they have a 4-game winning streak, having won last night. Now they're trying to balance the books and go 5-5. But more importantly for the Dodgers, the Giants lost. So a Dodger victory gives them a 3.5-game lead going into tomorrow as Utley waits to join the fun. In the dirt, nice save by Montero. 2 balls and 2 strikes to count. Boy, in the inning, Crawford single to left, Ellis single to right, Peraza double to right center, Ethier single to center, Rollins flied out, and then Hernandez single, Gonzalez single. 2 balls and 2 strikes. 1 out, 2 on, 4 in. 3-2. The Dodgers have Jim Johnson warming up in the bullpen. Tommy Hunter, a right-hander, is warming up in the Chicago pen. There's Tommy. 5-2 Dodgers, bottom of the 7th, 1 out. 3-2. Runners are going, and the ball popped up. Going back is Rizzo. He will make the play. It's the infield fly rule, and we have 2 down. So Turner pops it up, and now Howell spot, and the hitter will be Chase Utley. Utley in last night's game doubled, walked, scored a run. His double was then changed to a triple, and he has 5 home runs, 31 runs batted in. So Utley was born in nearby Pasadena, makes his home in Wilmington. One of the things that Utley talked about when he was trained and traded here, he said, I can get an In-N-Out hamburger. Being a Southern Californian, he missed it in Philadelphia. 1 ball and no strikes to Chase. 6'1", 200. He'll be 37 years old the middle of December. Remember Sean Burroughs? His father was a big home run hitter. Sean came up with San Diego. They were teammates on a little league team. That's a strike. Utley in the 2009 World Series did something that Reggie Jackson of the Yankees did. They're the only 2 big leaguers to hit 5 home runs in a single World Series. 5-2 Dodgers, 2 out. Runners at first and second, and a 2-1 count. When the Cubs come up in the 8th inning, they are due to send up the left-hander Coghlan, then the left-hander Rizzo, then the right-hander Bryant. Howell, remember, was in Van Slyke's spot. Ground ball hard, smothered by LaScala to throw him out. So a nice play by the second baseman to take a base hit away from Utley. However, the Dodgers score 4, turn it around, and at the end of 7, it's 5-2 Dodgers. up considerably thanks to the Dodgers scoring 4 times in the 7th inning. Chris Bryant had a base hit and scored a run for the Cubs. Jose Peraza, the young second baseman, has had a big game. A single, a double, RBI, 2 runs scored, and for good measure, he stole third. And then Andre Ethier comes in and bangs out a big base hit to drive in a couple. And the Dodgers have turned it around from being down 2-1 to being up 5-2. Jim Johnson will take over the pitching chores. He will be the 5th Dodger pitcher. Latos, Avilan, Hatcher, Howell, and now Jim. Chris Coghlan will lead it off. He's 0 for 3. Strike. Coghlan struck out, hit into a double play, grounded out again. So 2 things might very well be broken tonight. Number 1, the fact that whoever scores first wins. It looked like the Cubs did, but that's not holding up. And number 2, the Cubs record when Chris Coghlan was batting third, they're 18-2. That's a foul ball. Doesn't look like a play. Back in the crowd. 1 ball and 2 strikes to Chris Coghlan. Chris Coghlan, originally signed by the Marlins, first-round pick. Went to school at Mississippi. And promptly gets a base hit against Johnson. So that'll bring up Anthony Rizzo.
First baseman number 44, Anthony Rizzo.
Anthony Rizzo struck out and grounded to second base twice. No swing, ball 1. Rizzo, of course, with 26 home runs, is the kind of a hitter who can get you right back in the ballgame with 1 swing. One and one. Rizzo has 26 home runs now. He had 32 last year. Two and one. Five-two Dodgers, top of the 8th. 2-2. Fouled away again. It's hard to believe. I mean, if you ever watch a baseball game, you realize their first baseman is so very involved. In 1937, the Cubs had a first baseman named Jimmy Collins. He played a 9-inning game, never had a putout, never had a chance. And then the only other first baseman to ever do it, another Cub, Freddie McGriff. Meanwhile, down goes Rizzo. For Rizzo, he has struck out twice in this game, struck out twice in the first game. Big curveball sets him away. For the Cubs, let's see, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10 have struck out tonight. 14 struck out last night. 24 Cubs have struck out in 16 and the third innings. 24. Chris Bryant singled to center, scored a run on a wild pitch, grounded to short, and struck out. Slap foul. 0-2. Cubs are moving right along, getting close to 1,200 strikeouts. Dodgers coming into the game had 968. Did that hit him? Yes, it did. So, with a base hit and a hit batter, Miguel Montero comes up as the potential tying run.
Pitch number 47, Miguel Montero.
Bryant tries to get out of the way, and it gets him right on the protective covering of the left elbow. You can hear that click up here. So here's Montero. He has 14 home runs, 43 runs batted in. One out, 2 on, and the Dodgers on the phone. Montero, his high in home runs. One year he had 18 for Arizona. That'd be back in 2011. Now that he's playing in Ernie Banks' friendly confines, he has a shot to at least hit 4 more. And the Dodger bullpen, Juan Nicasio, now begins to warm up. 0-1 to Miguel Montero. On deck is the young shortstop, Addison Russell. 5 runs, 10 hits for the Dodgers, 2 runs, 5 hits, and an error for the Cubs. But they have an opportunity here, 2 on and 1 out. Fouled off. So Johnson throwing hard, 96, 97. Montero fouling them away. Jim is 6'5", 225-pounder, 32 years old. Pitched a no-hitter in high school. You can imagine how overpowering he was. Throws so hard. In the dirt and hits him, and the bases are loaded. So a leadoff single, and with 1 out, 2 hit batters. Hit him off the right knee. Well, Mickey goes to first. Addison Russell, the young shortstop, coming up. Both hit batters were on 0-2 pitches. In other words, Johnson trying to bounce a curveball around the plate, and he hit Bryant. Now he hits Montero. Coughlin, who opened up with a single, is at third, and here is Russell. Had a long foul ball. Crawford made a good catch, but he picked up a run back in the second inning. Singled and came home on the balk that was charged, and then last time up struck out. So Rick Honeycutt going out to talk. Honeycutt never changes the pitcher. It's always the skipper. Matt Caesar is now going to run for Montero at first base, especially since he represents the tying run. Caesar, in case you are keeping score, if you want to put Julius in there, okay, but his name is spelled S-Z-C-Z-U-R, but fortunately it's pronounced Caesar. So a base hit and 1 out later, 2 hit batters. So here is Addison Russell, 1 for 2, a dandy shortstop. And ball 1. Johnson had only hit 1 as a Dodger, 2 before coming here. 1 ball and no strikes. 95-mile-an-hour Swifty, and a 1-1 count. Cubs, of course, have had some marvelous shortstops. They'll never forget when Ernie Banks played the position. Check swing for a strike. Russell is 6 feet, 195. A couple of years ago, he was as big as 225 pounds. Whoa, 2-2. Starlin Castro, who did not start, is on deck. He would bat for Grimm. Good late movement, but it ran out of the zone. 2-2. And now he goes 3-2. Well, it's 5-2 in favor of the Dodgers, but Mattingly very uneasy. The Cubs are getting a good look at the game again. 3-2 with 1 out. So Coghlan, Bryant, and Caesar all taking their leads. Ground ball, Rollins to second, to first. Big double play ball to bail out the Dodgers. The Cubs had 3 on with 1 out, and they come up empty. Nice chopper to the shortstop Rollins. He feeds it to Peraza, not even close at first. And we're heading to the bottom of the 8th. 5-2 Dodgers. Giants and Dodgers, and receive a Justin Turner bobblehead presented by Security Benefit. For tickets, go to Dodgers.com/promotions. So the Dodgers come up with 4 for Caesar, who is now in the ball game. Schwarber goes behind the plate, and we also have a new pitcher, and that's James Russell. So Caesar stays in Montero's spot, goes to left field. Schwarber goes behind the plate, and here's James Russell out of Cincinnati, Ohio. Went to the University of Texas and lives in Texas. He is certainly a chip off the old block. He's the son of former Major League All-Star closer Jeff Russell, who started with the Reds, then with the Rangers, the A's, Red Sox, and Indians. Then his dad finished back in Texas. So he basically grew up in the ballpark. 0-1. 1 ball and 1 strike. Crawford is struck out. Catcher's interference sent him to first. single to left, and scored the first of the 4 big runs. Fowler gets back and just has to wait for it. So 1 out on the long fly ball. And the batter will be A.J. Ellis. If you had to look at one pitch, and admittedly there have been so many made, and now we see that Joe Maddon's going back out to the mound. He has Tommy Hunter, remember, throwing down there. So his left-hander got an out, and we'll be right back. Tweet your photo for a chance to be shown in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. The Cubs make another pitching change. Tommy Hunter out of Indianapolis coming in. Tommy is a 2-time junior Olympic judo champion. When he was about 12 years old, he admits at that young age he wanted to be a teenage mutant ninja turtle. Well, instead, he's become a big league pitcher. He was a first-round pick by the Rangers out of the University of Alabama. 6'3" and a good .255. 29 years old. Fastball strike, 0-1. The crowd, and a good one tonight, 51,697. Dodgers passing the 3 million mark for the 4th year in a row. A tribute to the fans, their allegiance, their loyalty. In fact, the Dodgers have passed the 3 million mark 19 of the last 20 seasons, 29th time in club history. I can remember the news back east when the Philadelphia Phillies drew 2 million people, and I thought, wow. And then the Phillies said, with the 2 million, they'll break even. And I thought, uh-oh. That's ball 3. A.J. Ellis probably, maybe we're making too much of it, but certainly had one of the key base hits tonight. And that was in the 7th inning. And the count was no balls and 2 strikes. Lester was pitching so well. And there's a base hit to right field on a 3-1 fastball. So Ellis got the breaking ball and hit it to right. And the wheels really started to turn then. So A.J., after striking out twice, comes right back to go 2 for 4. Hunter giving up the hit. Dodgers now have 11 hits. Jose Peraza, big night, including his first major league run batted in. He probably loved stealing third as well. That's right. Here's the RBI in the 7th inning, and he smoked it. Hit the ball to the gap in right center. scoring Crawford easily. Peraza despises himself. So happy. 0-1. Ground foul. 0-2. Peraza, of course, in the minor leagues, and Howie Kendrick's playing second base. Kike Hernandez appears to play anywhere. Then the Dodgers sign up Chase Utley, who is alongside of Hernandez on the railing. And you can imagine Peraza in Oklahoma City saying, they'll never have any room for me. And here he is having a big game. Not sure just how long Howie Kendrick will be out. But the feeling from Don Mattingly was a little bit longer than we had hoped. 1-2. Bouncer. They'll get one. Not in time. So the force play that takes Ellis off the baselines. And with 2 out, we'll bring up Andre Ethier. Play took a little time to develop. Hunter wasn't very quick in getting the ball back. So the payoff for the Dodgers, they have a runner at first. And here's Andre Ethier. Ethier came off the bench in the 7th inning and drove in 2 with a base hit. Just a point away from the promised land of 300. 12 home runs, 41 runs batted in. Dodgers trying to win 5 in a row to make them forget the bad taste of losing 5 in a row when they began the last road trip. And of course, for good measure, if they win tonight, they will increase their lead to 3.5 games over the Giants. 2-0 the count. Lester, Grimm, Russell, Adrian Gonzalez coming up with a base hit. Everybody enjoyed the 7th inning except Lester and Grimm. Two and 0. There goes the runner, the pitch, and the throw too late. Remember, a new catcher, Schwarber, behind the plate. The Peraza has quite a night. A single, a double, a steal of second, and a steal of third. Got a good jump. Peraza's throw, short hop. So Peraza waiting for a ride home with 2 out. 3-0 the count on Andre Ethier. They might very well green light him 3-0. If he likes the location, he might take a bite. And up around the eyes, ball 4. So Hunter now with first and second and 2 out, and Jimmy Rollins coming out. Rollins flied to center twice, struck out and flied to right. Justin Turner and Jimmy Rollins are the only 2 Dodgers on the outside looking in. Turner 0 for 4, Rollins 0 for 4. Big curveball, ball 1. We were talking earlier about Tommy Hunter being an Olympic judo champion. His older sister has a black belt. She trained with the U.S. Olympic judo team before the '96 Summer Games. 1 ball and 1 strike to count to Jimmy Rollins. Dropped that in nicely. 1-2. Hunter recalls when he was with Texas with Cliff Lee, and Lee said to him, "Everybody says you're good at judo. Why don't you put me in a move that impresses me?" And Hunter said, "So I put him in a move and I impressed him." 2-2 the count. With Tommy, you'll get fastballs with a natural cutter action, pretty good sinker and a curve, and a changeup. Breaking ball, chop wide at first. Rizzo flips to Hunter, and that's the inning. So the Dodgers get a base hit and a walk, but nothing else. And at the end of 8, 5-2 Dodgers. It's 5-11-0 for the Dodgers and 2-5-1 for Chicago. Kenley Jansen in his 39th game, always amazed at his numbers. He had walked 5 and struck out 64. Starlin Castro will be batting for Hunter in the pitcher's spot. So it'll be Castro, La Stella, and Fowler. Castro had been the shortstop. Russell is a better shortstop, the experts tell me. So Starlin moved over to second base, hitting .241. And a strike. 0-1. Kenley Jansen, who means so much to the Dodgers, 26 saves, 2-1 record, ERA a little less than 2.5. Line drive, base hit to center. So the Cubs had a base hit and 2 hit batters to load the bases in the 8th inning, only to have Addison Russell hit into a double play. Now here's Castro, and he drills one right by the shoulder of Jansen into center field. That's hit number 6 for the Cubs. La Stella, playing second base, struck out, singled, walked, stole a base. Shows bunt for a strike. 0-1. Castro has 4 stolen bases. He's been caught 5 times. Not that you expect him to see him run in the 9th inning down by 3. That's just his background. Gonzalez not holding. That's off the plate. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dexter Fowler, who's been on base 3 times tonight, is on deck. He has doubled and walked twice. 1-1. That's a good strike up in the zone. Looked at a strike. Boy, he had a good look at it, didn't he? So La Stella, they always said when you're trying to learn to hit, look the ball right into the catcher's mitt. Well, he was looking all the way. Nice view. 1 down. And the batter now, Dexter Fowler. Doubled, walked twice, struck out. That's right. That's another strikeout for the Cubs. Almost hit him, ball 1. So the Cubs had 14 whiffs last night, and so far in this game it's starting to pile up. We'll have to go and count them all up, but it's a bunch. Kershaw, of course, 1 shy of his no-hitter, 15 strikeouts. So with 11 strikeouts tonight, that means the Cubs in their 2 games have struck out 25 times. You talk about flailing. So Fowler up there, 2 balls and no strikes. The left-hand hitting Schwarber, who is now the catcher, is on deck. 2-0. Little ground ball. They'll get the out at first. There'll be no throw to first. So that will erase Castro. Cubs are down to their last out. And the batter will be Kyle Schwarber, left fielder and catcher.
Left fielder number 12, Kyle Schwarber.
Schwarber struck out, flied to left, walked, and struck out again. In the first inning, Dexter Fowler led off the game with a double, and Latos then struck out Schwarber, Coghlan, and Rizzo. And a strike. So 25 Cubs have struck out in the 2 games, and tomorrow it'll be Alex Wood against Jake Arrieta, who's a 16-game winner. Oh, the Cubs now are down to their last strike. 51,697 up, and the Dodgers are a strike away from leading the Giants by 3.5. 1-2. Wow. Kenley trying to get a little something extra. That's when an excellent pitcher suddenly becomes a thrower. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 out. Dodgers lead 5-2. Honeycutt watching that tower of strength. He comes in from the bullpen and does such a magnificent job. 2-2. Off speed, ball 3. Waiting on deck, Chris Coghlan, left-hand batter, who is 1 for 4. Three and 2. And pop foul and out of play. Five runs, 11 hits, and no errors for the Dodgers. 2 runs, 6 hits, and 1 error for the Cubs. Three and 2. High fly ball to right field, but it's playable. Ethier is there. That'll do it. So the Dodgers win at 5-2. Jansen made 16 pitches to get the outs. 25 Cubs have struck out in the 2 games. Andre Ethier furnished the play of the game when he came off the bench. Got a clean single to right field to drive in 2, and that pretty much gave the Dodgers the victory. So Andre, to take another look, bangs 1 and 2 runs scored, and that opened it up to a comfortable zone. That'll do it for us. ESPN tomorrow night. We'll be talking to you Monday with the San Francisco Giants, whom the Dodgers lead by 3.5. Till then, we wish you all a very pleasant good evening, everybody.